Welcome to our Brewers season preview here on Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew. We did a Brewers season recap after last season. Went an hour, probably a little longer than an hour actually, to talk all things Brewers and how that season went down. We needed a little time after their loss to the Braves in the postseason, but we made it. We got it done. And here we are just days before opening day. It's quite a ways away from the home opener yet. On 4/14 Milwaukee Day, 4:14 Central Time, first pitch, 4:14 Upper Deck tickets, completely sold out from American Family Field. But I'm Jordon Lawrenz, joined with Drew Skyberg. Drew, spring training is here and the Brewers season right around the corner.
Yeah, it's safe to say I think we are all recovered from last year's tragic playoff loss. It's new season coming around, new opportunity, right? Hope for Milwaukee fans to maybe make that World Series appearance. First time, hopefully, since 1982. I mean, we're hoping that we can see this finally. We saw other teams have success in Wisconsin recently, and we need the Brewers to keep that going.
And we certainly do. And the loss last year wasn't as bad to me because we lost to the team that won the World Series. So that was the only little bit that made it just a bit better for me. Because if you're going to lose, at least lose to a good team, and the Brewers did just that. So let's talk about what happened since then in the offseason. Obviously, we know the Devin Williams injury. It certainly didn't help the crew, but Josh Hader, actually just a few days ago, he signed a 1-year deal. So Josh Hader is back with the Brewers. Were you surprised to see that we're keeping him around, or at this point, he's with us for a while?
Well, he was arbitration eligible. So, I mean, they right now, Brewers still have team control of him. So, no surprise there, him coming back. Arbitration, well deserved, and thankfully they didn't have to go to arbitration. But one guy, who they might have to right now is going to be Adrian Hauser. There's no agreement right now as of March 23rd when we're recording this. There's a roughly $400,000 to $500,000 difference between the two parties. So
that is not good.
Hopefully we can see that get settled, because the worst thing right now that could happen is have these financial, disagreements go and linger into the regular season, because that doesn't help anyone. So other than that, I think, everyone who has arbitration eligible, they got a nice raise. I'll talk about it quickly, or when we'll get it up. But yeah, I mean, Hauser is the only one that hasn't.
We'll stay on the pitchers here to start off. I was going to talk about Hunter Renfroe, Andrew McCutcheon, but we'll stay with the pitchers right now. Corbin Burnes, reigning Cy Young winner. The man had an absolutely huge season. He didn't give up a walk until a good chunk into the season. His ratio was just unbelievable. Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burnes, Freddie Peralta. That's that 1-2-3 combo. And then the Brewers have some other aces up their sleeve as well. So they'll probably, do you think this season, especially with it starting later, do you think we'll see a 6-man rotation for a good chunk of the year?
I'm going to say I don't think so. You would think Aaron Ashby's been worked out as a starter too, but Brad Anderson being gone, I mean, he's the only reason this kind of worked. I mean, it only happened because he'd go like 3 or 4 innings. So I think we're going to see 5 starters and then 5 guys, and then that's 6. So maybe a 6-man rotation, but 2 guys are going to kind of split the workload, because Aaron Ashby gives you so much versatility here. I think, having him potentially, stretch out maybe as that starter, but at the same time, Hauser, Lauer, those guys they're ready to go the 5-6 innings, I think. But, when you have Aaron Ashby, he kind of operates maybe as a 6th starter, but I think they're going to more use him in leverage situations, kind of like a lefty specialist might be what we see there. But like I said, not for the arbitration stuff. 9 out of 10 players didn't even have to go to arbitration, Hauser being the only one. And overall, I believe those 9 players now are making a combined $48 million is what I believe. So that's still a steal, and that's your young talent, So that's the Freddie Peraltas, the Woodruff, Burnes, those guys all settled with their agreements.
That's baseball for you, where you get all these guys for steals.
Well, yeah, and then what free agency they're going to get paid, and the money's all guaranteed here as well. So that's why they can do this, because that's how baseball rolls. But thankfully, I just think extensions need to be coming. Hopefully this year, during the year, we can see them. We can kind of see extensions take place, because that's going to be something we need, I think, from this Brewers squad, from the front office as well.
Certainly don't think we can keep all three of them, but if we can and we can work something out, then that would definitely be the way to go. Aaron Ashby, I wanted to stumble on him back for a second because he started the year. I mean, his first ever appearance was that unforgettable Cubs game, gives up 7 or 8 runs right away. Brewers come back to win that game. He didn't even make it through his first inning. And then we saw him, he got another start against the Cubs a little bit later on. And then we saw him come out of the bullpen. And he was kind of that middle reliever role, that fifth, sixth, seventh inning, somewhere around there. Do you expect him to do the same thing this year? Or maybe he starts a game or two where they need him and then he comes out of the bullpen? Because I feel like a lot of people right now are most concerned about that middle relieving innings. You know, if Woodruff goes 5 or 6 innings and then we need someone to fill 7, 8 before we get to the end. What do you think for that Ashby? What is he going to do this year? And then that middle reliever role, how are you worried about it, or you think we're going to be just fine? Because not every game we're going to get Burns to go 8. We're not going to get Woodruff to go 6 every time either. And then, Peralta could stumble and only go 4 or 3. So just overall, your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, I think you're bringing Brad Boxberger back. I think for exactly a middle relief role, give some relief there as well. Miguel Sanchez, I think he's a guy who impressed some people. He had some quality stretches last year. I think we're going to see him on the big league roster. Devin Williams, of course, Josh Hader, right? These guys are all going to be middle relievers. But then, you lost some guys, right? So, Handel Gustave, I think he's going to be the guy who's going to have to step up again. You saw him sign Trevor Gott from the Giants. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe who knows if he makes the roster. Alec Bettinger, we saw him start that game against the Dodgers. Tough memory for Bettinger, but there's a lot of guys. It depends on how their spring's going, and like I said, we're recording this March 23rd, so we don't have a lot of data to look at yet. But I think these guys are going to be people will see. JC Mejia is also another one. Hobie Milner. I'm sorry, it was tough to watch him. Justin Topa, do you remember him in the 2020 season, the shortened season?
Yes, and then we wondered last year when we were going to get him back, and then all of a sudden it was nothing. We got him back, and he played in the minors was terrible. So hopefully, this extended time gave him some, time to get better. Brent Suter, that's another one. I mean, he's going to be really that guy who love him.
With Ashby, my one concern with doing this sixth starter, you're bringing 2 lefties, right? Arguably is going to be how the way that would work, though, if you'd use them. Otherwise, Hauser piggybacks maybe with Suter. I mean, we've seen Counsell do this, a multitude of times. So I don't know. I think the pitching situation is as good as last year, if not better. So I think having Ashby with more experience now, I think that's really what makes this, awesome, great for me. And plus, remember the second half that Lauer and Hauser had? They were better than the first 3,
Yeah, and I was never the biggest fan of them to begin with, but they really showed out.
So, yeah, I think pitching's going to be, it's going to be the strongest of this team. Yeah, yet another year. Imagine I was saying this 9 years ago, when the team was hitting 230 home runs a year as a team, one of the top offensive teams in the NL, and now we're seeing, and they were never, opposite. It was like, they were like 20 something in pitching in baseball. And now we're seeing the exact opposite, of flip 180 here. But yeah, let's talk, talks about some of the, position players we got coming back.
Yes, indeed. Let's talk first, though. Let's talk about someone we added, a position player, Hunter Renfroe. Welcome to the Milwaukee Brewers. He's going to be batting kind of in that cleanup spot, maybe a little DH as well. We've seen him bat cleanup quite a few times so far in spring training. We got him for Jackie Bradley Jr. He is gone, no longer a Brewer. Everyone obviously happy about that. And then we gave up some top 30 prospects, including David Hamilton and Alex Benelis. Those 2 are gone, along with JBJ. Hunter Renfroe is here with the Brewers, and I mean, he's going to play in the outfield. He could play some DH as well, but Drew, this is a great pickup for the Brewers.
Yeah, getting a right-handed hitter who, at a hitter-friendly ballpark like American Family Field. I mean, this is what the Brewers wanted. If you remember last year, hitting lefties was a struggle, and they got 2 guys to kind of alleviate maybe that struggle. Because, with Tellez, Yelich, Narvaez, those guys who struggled against left-handed pitching. I mean, it was noticeable. And now I think, having these guys to maybe, alleviate that and kind of make the team more balanced. I think that's exactly what, President of Baseball Operations David Stearns and Matt Arnold, GM wanted, and they got that. So I like the Renfroe trade. I mean, we talked about it on the show, even when we saw it in December. I think he's going to hit well at American Family Field. He's also got, a cannon in right. I mean, he's as gold glove level defense in past years. So we'll have to wait and see, right, with him. But the other signing.
Someone else we have to wait and see, Andrew McCutchen. So this is interesting because he's old, right? 35 years old. He's getting up there. Obviously, everyone's going to remember him from his Pirate days back when he was just an absolute stud on the Pittsburgh team. Then he went to the Phillies, and last season in 144 games, he had a 222 average, but he had 27 home runs, and I was shocked to see that he had that many home runs. And overall, 3.1 WAR they said he had last year, which is not bad. And I mean, we could certainly use the power with 27 home runs, but at 35 years old, obviously his prime is past him at this stage in his career. But overall, Andrew McCutchen, Drew, it's not a bad signing for the Brewers, but it's one that it's going to take a while to get used to because we really don't know what we're going to get with this guy.
We don't. And projections have him, arguably having a better year offensively than he did this past year. They got him, I'm looking at some stats, only 22 home runs compared to, 27, but average up, OPS up. So arguably they're playing into consideration the ballpark he's moving to. I mean, Oracle, where we see the Giants play, not as ideal as American Family Field, but I mean, he only had three plate appearances right now in spring training. So not really a lot of, data we can look at right now for that, but interesting, how the universal DH now makes him one of the top 30 designated hitters, which he is. And, the universal DH adds another aspect here. And, he's been proven, I mean, for the Brewers, 144 games last year from, and he was with the Phillies last year, my bad, but he did play with,
That's
San
still
Francisco
durability too, because I mean, you look at a guy like Lorenzo Cain who seems to get hurt once in a while. McCutchen can go in and fill that spot.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a selling point. Yeah, he was in San Francisco in 2018. So my bad. I meant, Citizens Bank Park still is, a tougher place to hit in some aspects. So I still think, my point lives on with that. But I liked the signing. I think, having a guy for him who can, play that DH role. Because right now, Mike Brosseau, the guy we got from the Rays, I think we might see him against a quality left-handed starter. You might see Tellez sit. We might see Brosseau, hop in and play first, and then kind of see Rowdy on the bench, and then McCutchen's. Yeah, I think McCutchen's right now is going to be the everyday DH. But if that backfires, right, if he's batting 190s, I don't know what you do, because again, it's only a 1-year deal, but maybe you move one of those outfielders, because right now we have a surplus, as you know, a surplus of outfielders. So
which is never a problem. We've
never,
learned.
and which going back to last year when we talked about it,
Exactly.
KBJ, we were like, oh my goodness. I mean, granted, it was still bad signing. We were right, but we saw outfielders get hurt right away. Kane was hurt a bunch. Yelich got hurt a little bit there. Taylor was hurt a little bit, right? There's a lot of people who got hurt, and that's where those guys stepped up, and that kind of made this team a winner. So have to wait and see, though, with McCutchen as well.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about it, but it's not the worst thing at the end of the year. It's just a 1-year deal. Let's talk about the position players. First base, we're going to start there. We're not going to go through every single one, but first base for the Brewers has been just back and forth for a while. Keston Hiura, he's been getting a lot of hits at bats, I guess I should say, at spring training, so we don't know what we're getting from Hiura quite yet. Then we've got Vogelbach, Tellez, and Brosseau, who you kind of threw in there as well. I mean, what in the world are we doing at first base this year?
Vogelbach signed with the Pirates, so he's out of the question.
Okay.
Brosseau,
I was unaware.
And, well, it's been a wild last few weeks. I mean, there's no,
There's so hard to keep up. I'm looking at the Brewers 40-man roster online, and I didn't see him, but I didn't really know. So Brosseau is kind of the replacement.
Brosseau is going to be the replacement, but you threw an excellent name that I want to mention later here. Keston Hiura, he's been raking. I think he might be the guy, his strong suit, which is weird, being a right-handed batter. He thrives against right-handed pitching, but that was in 2019, and he hasn't been the same the last few years. But I do think the potential we have here for, maybe we see McCutchen struggle. Maybe we see an injury, right? I think Keston Hiura could step in as that everyday DH. I wouldn't be surprised.
And it's a lot less pressure on him as well.
I think defense. Come on. Keston here as a defender, he it's been rough, I think. And if he plays well enough offensively again, because DH, I mean, you're just hitting. So we need to see Keston here have the offensive production to maybe make him valuable there, because his defense has no value. I mean, Colton Wong is running circles around Keston here defensively. So I think that's just something to look at. But they got their platoon guy also. I mean, I know we'll talk catcher too as well, but like Pedro Severino is going to be a great pinch hitter. Even I think it's left-handed pitching. He's going to be kind of like that guy, maybe first off the bench even to hit lefties. So
let's talk about the rest then of the infield. I think it's basically a lock, right? Colton Wong will be at second, Adames at short, and then third, Urias, and kind of who else do you think will fill in for third?
Urias won the job every day. I mean, he's been
okay.
impressive. He had a great year offensively last year. Batted ball data, looking through the StatCast numbers, speak for him. I think he's just going to be a great player, next year. I think even, going fantasy wise, talking fantasy baseball, I think, he might be a sleeper guy for some teams, because third base being a weak position, this year in all baseball. I think he's going to be one guy who stands out.
He certainly could. And I mean, keep those errors down and then he's good to go. I mean, he's a stud at the plate as well. So moving back to the outfield before we move back up front, right now list Lorenzo Cain, which obviously we know, him, Yelich, and Hunter Renfroe. Those will be the three guys in the outfield most of the time, you assume?
Yeah, right. You got it right. You said Renfroe, you said Yelich, you said Cain.
Yep, and then you kind of have those other guys to fill in as well. Tyrone Taylor, he's still with the crew. Corey Ray, kind of a high-level AAA player. He can fill in when needed. And then obviously you still have McCutchen. But for outfield depth, I think that's pretty good. I can't really argue with a lot of those names.
Yeah. Lorenzo Cain's last year of his contract. I'm not gonna say like if he plays, because he's been on the decline, which at his age is expected.
I'm not against them trading him.
I don't know if you trade him. I don't know what team would want, maybe him. I mean, the Brewers, I'm cool with keeping a leader like him on a contender, but you might see Taylor sneak in there more this year, even if Cain is healthy, which I know Cain's defense is still there. We still see him make those Gold Glove plays, but I think just offensively, like Cain now, we saw him as leadoff hitter his first few years here in Milwaukee, but now he's, a 6-7 hitter. He's not a leadoff hitter anymore. And he's still playing for his defense, but at the end of the day, I mean, Taylor's proven. I mean, he proved himself offensively last year, and that was a stride that we needed to see from him. If he keeps that up, I mean, and Cade's gonna have some sort of injury issue. That's just how it is. Some, might be a few days, might be a week, might be a month, but Taylor he'll get at bats. I mean, I'm thinking, 300, 400 at bats at least for a guy like Tyrone Taylor, which is solid. And I mean, I'm hoping we can get that kind of output for Tyrone Taylor.
So then we look back to the catchers. We kind of hinted at this one a little bit as well. Omar Narvaez, we obviously have. He'll be the main one. And then backing up, Feliciano's been getting a lot of at-bats down at spring training. I don't know if they're going to keep him at AAA for the most part, but Severino, you think he's going to be the backup to Narvaez?
We've seen, 28, there's 28-man rosters till May 1st. So if we're talking opening day roster, right? We've seen the Brewers, they have a history of going 3 catchers. And I'm not saying, we'll see that, but right now, Mario Feliciano, he's in the top 30 prospects. We could potentially see him make the opening day roster. They might go with the older Brett Sullivan. So, I wouldn't be shocked to see Brewers go 3 catchers on opening day.
I don't really think Sullivan should be in the conversation, but he could be. I mean, I saw Feliciano when I went to spring training, and he looked good. He could hit. He could catch, certainly. So him, Severino, and Narvaez, I like that trio as catchers.
Manny Pena leaving hurts. I mean, but
yes, it does.
Again, he got arguably almost starter money. I know, even though he's a backup. I mean, he's getting $4 million a year from a team as a catcher for his defense, which offensively he wasn't much, but he got a good deal. I mean, for him, he must have, StatCast, all the advanced stats must have really helped out his case out, because he got a nice deal for being, a backup catcher.
All right, so I think right now what we're going to do, April 7th in Chicago, opening day. What are we thinking for our lineup? I think it's pretty straightforward besides the pitcher, and you might disagree with me, but Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff certainly has to be the only discussion. I know Burnes just won the Cy Young, but I still think you go Woody as the opening day starter.
I'm so glad you said that. Brandon Woodruff fan, absolute workhorse, right? I think I don't know how Burns would. Those guys got to be cool with it. I'd say
Yeah,
I like Woodruff starting that
this
opening
has
day.
been Woodruff's team for the last few years, and
Yeah,
Burns had a great year. But
and it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're not, but arguably, you're not going to get an extra, like 5 starts a year, starting him an extra
yeah,
game
no,
or day ahead early. I think because either way, one of them's going to miss out starts. And Burns, I don't know how much like inning wise, if you want to kind of restrict, because Woodruff's going to give you 220 innings at least. I mean, I think that's a given with him, just as an absolute workhorse. So I'll
unless some
say
crazy injury happens all of a sudden, which he's proven doesn't really happen with him.
Exactly. That's going to help him out, maybe even an extension, which for a pitcher. But I think those guys are going to, yeah, I like the Woodruff opening day. And you want to name, I think leadoff hitter Colton Wong's a given.
Yes, I was going to try and we can guess the lineup a little bit here. So let's go. Just first of all, so we've got Woodruff pitching. Obviously, Narvaez will be catching. Who's going to be the starting day first baseman?
Tellez. He's got the job.
Rowdy's going to stay there. I was going to say there's a chance Keston could, but I highly, highly doubt it at this point in time. So Tellez there, Colton Wong at second, Willie Adames at short, Urias at third, and then our outfielders are going to be Kane, Yelich, and Renfroe. So the lineup then, Colton Wong will lead off, and then second, do you put Christian Yelich?
Yeah, why not? No, I think you put him Stroman. So Marcus Stroman is the probable, I'm going to say, probable starter for the Cubs opening day.
Okay.
So take that in consideration, right-handed batter, a right-handed pitcher. You're going to see a left-handed hitter like Yelich bat second.
Yes. So we put Yelich at second, and then third is where it gets a little tricky. Do you maybe throw Rowdy at third and then Renfroe fourth?
They're going to probably put Rowdy fifth. I mean, that's where they've usually
move Rowdy
years
below.
past. So
then third,
that's
maybe Adames.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's no way they might flip for matchups instead of going Wong and then Yelich second. They might go Yelich first, or not Yelich first, Wong first, and then they're going to go Adames second, Yelich third.
Adames and Yelich.
That. And then to flip flop that, they're going to put Renfroe fourth. They're going to put then, okay, the line's making itself now. Then they're going to put, who are they going to put fifth?
Rowdy
fifth. Then they're going to put
Urias.
Ooh, this lineup's good. I mean, there's a reason this team, which we'll talk about, is projected to win 93 games. I mean, this is a solid.
They could win 100.
Yeah, in the division, which I'm excited to talk about. But the bottom really gets fuzzy there. Omar Narvaez, where do you bet him? I mean, they're all.
What are you going to put him eighth?
I think you put Kane eighth.
And then who's ninth?
You're right. I don't, because now maybe you put Kane ninth, I guess. Because
I think you put Kane ninth.
Sorry, I forgot about the universal DH for a second.
Yes.
McCutcheon's seventh or eighth, but again, him being designated hitter. They might move Tellez down. I mean, Tellez might be the victim here, and it's a bummer. But
I mean, I guess there's really nothing wrong with batting ninth now that we have universal DH.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we can say the top 5 of the lineup, makes itself.
It's pretty much a lock.
But when you get to Urias, I think that's where questions. You don't know where they're going to put him, because I would be okay with having him. You could go put Tellez fifth, you put Urias sixth, Narvaez seventh, and I think you put.
I feel like that bottom half could change every day.
And that's the beauty of this lineup. I mean, so versatile, and I think there's a lot of ways you could go about it with this team. But Jordan, you want to talk a little bit about the standings here, because the NL Central's weak.
Yes, we will indeed talk about it. So let's talk schedule real quick before we get to the projection. The Cubs is the Brewers opening day matchup. That'll be a 1:20 Central Time, Thursday, April 7th. So this episode is, we're getting close. It's about a week away from opening day. We are getting there, ladies and gentlemen. Finally getting our bit of baseball. The Brewers will be in Chicago. Then they'll be at Baltimore, and it'll be the Orioles' home opener on the 11th, 2:05 Central Time start for that game. Before the Brewers come home, their home opener a day before Jackie Robinson Day, April 14th, 4:14 start. And after that, they host the Pirates, and then they go to Philadelphia, and then they play one game against the Giants on the 25th. They host them for one game before they go to Pittsburgh, and that basically rounds off the month. It's an interesting first month of baseball, and other than that, we look ahead to a few key matchups. The Braves come to town, looking at May 16th, 17th, and 18th. They host Atlanta. They play them earlier in the month as well, but getting to host them is a lot better off Then they have a big road trip at the end of the month, and including a 3-game stretch in San Diego. Then they go to St. Louis and Chicago before they host San Diego. Other than that, 3-game series against the Mets. So who knows if we could see Jacob deGrom in that series. We're not sure what'll be up with deGrom this year, and if he can rebound from last year. Then we get into July, just a 2-game series against the Twins and a 4-game against the Giants before the All-Star break. After that, it starts hosting the Rockies, then just a 2-game series against the Twins, the Red Sox after that, which could get interesting. And speaking of interesting, a 4-game series against the Dodgers, August 15th through the 18th. Then a series against the Cubs, followed by another 3-game series at LA against the Dodgers, and then some divisional games before they round things off. A few double headers thrown in the month of September, and then you got your schedule. They host the Mets again late in the month. They also host the Yankees, which is a big thing in September 16th, 17th, and 18th. But that's a look at it. The Diamondbacks are the last series for the Brewers, so that's a mighty fine way to end the year with the Marlins and Diamondbacks. But now that the schedule is come and gone, there's a lot more, obviously, too, in their projections. I mean, this is the Brewers division to lose this year. There is no way, in my opinion, they don't win this.
Yeah. When your division helps you out when they get significantly weaker, right? Cincinnati trades, everyone except Votto and Jonathan India. I think, them getting rid of, Winker helps out because he was a pain for the Brewers. Castellanos signed to the Phillies.
Yep,
oh my goodness,
the big one.
This helps out, and I know we're seeing next year though that this won't help out as much that your division getting weaker because as we talked about, you're going to be playing more opponents from other leagues, other teams. Everyone's going to have a series against each other, so it's going to be straight the schedule. We'll still play. You'll still play your division more, but it'll be less than the 18 games per each opponent. But good news for Brewers right now this year because that's not in place. Reds are looking under 500 for sure. They traded their pitch, Sonny Gray as well is gone, and there's gonna be some other guys we're gonna see traded. Luis Castillo's got to be out soon. I don't know what you do with Votto, but Cubs, they signed some guys. They signed Stroman. They signed Suzuki from Japan. Pittsburgh, Brian Reynolds is gonna be traded soon. Their star player. Other than that, they didn't really sign much. They're still rebuilding. They haven't been great for years. St. Louis Cardinals, right? This is the team that you're like, oh my goodness, they just had that hot win streak. What are they going to do this year? I don't think they're going to do much. I think, right now projections have them winning 80 games. So that's still under 500. I think what hurts them, offensively, they still have, they have Arenado, they have Goldschmidt, but, this team, they're pitching.
They're certainly a 500 team, but I don't know how much above that they can get.
Exactly. And I don't know, you can say playing over their heads. Look what they got from Wainwright last year. There's no way they get that from him this year. I think this team, played a little over their heads, and September, I think the projections, they recognize that. So I think, given them 80 something games, I think at most they can sneak in with that last wild card spot. And then I'll give them at most. And the reason why is because, they could get hot, but otherwise there's a lot of good teams, in the other divisions, which we don't really have to mention here. We can briefly here, but like Atlanta, the Mets, Phillies made a lot of signings, and that's just the NL East. And then you still have
Phillies could be dangerous this year.
Yeah. And you still have LA, then San Diego and San Francisco. I think so. You have arguably
think about how many spots that is right there.
Yeah, you have 3, 5, 8 teams, and there's only 6 teams that make the playoffs. So let's see. Other than that, I think they got the Rockies, being the worst team in the NL, or second worst. My bad. They still have Pittsburgh being the worst, which makes sense. But
that does indeed make sense.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh has our number from time to time, though. They'll win a series or two.
I'll give you the Brewers their odds to make the playoffs: 93%.
That is high.
Odds to win the World Series: 8%. So they are, as of right now, the 3rd highest team in the NL to win the World Series. So. We'll take that, right? I
think the big thing, though, is what are we going to get out of our pitchers this year? Because I don't expect Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta to be all just absolute insane number-wise like they were last year. Burns is not going to have another Cy Young year. He could, but I think Woodruff will be the top guy pitching, as he usually has been. And Peralta could even overtake Burns. It's just really going to be a matter of who's stepping up at the right times. But We got a lot out of them last year. I don't think they'll be as good, but there's no way they get significantly worse than what they were. So, like, even if they were a little bit worse, that's still better than a lot of other starters.
I think Woodruff, could maybe, which you're right, regression could happen, right? I mean, that could happen in baseball, but I think some of these guys get better, which might sound insane. I think Ashby, he gets better.
Oh, yeah.
I
The
think his
lower
stats-
guys certainly can get a lot better.
Woodruff, I mean, we saw him struggle a little in the second half. I mean, his numbers went up. Like his ERA was under 2 for a majority of the year. Possibly, we could see him, I think, which might sound crazy. I think he could have a better year than last year. With just based on, how his performance has been, his velo has been just fine. Burns, I mean, how does he get better than last year, right? How does he put up
I don't think he
better
does.
numbers? Maybe he puts up similar. I think similar numbers is going to be the word to use there, like comparable numbers, but certainly not maybe better. But
Peralta, everyone sleeps on the guy. He's so good.
yeah. No, he's a solid starter. I mean, as a third starter is a gift, and I think he's gonna put up great numbers. We saw him struggle a little in the second half as well.
Yeah.
Some starts here against the Cardinals, I remember.
I actually think it'll be the opposite this year, where I think some pitchers are going to struggle to start the year just because of how everything's been and then the limited spring training and camps and stuff like that. That's what I think, at least, is it's going to take these pitchers a little bit longer to get going.
Yeah, and some of these guys were, working off the field. I mean, Brandon Woodruff was, right? I mean,
yeah, they're not sitting around at home eating a bag of chips.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, he's one of my favorite, players in baseball and for the Brewers as well. So I'm hoping the bullpen though, like that's my concern.
That's the only thing.
And the bullpens, they have the pieces. I mean, these guys have proven. I want to see Otopa. If we can get solid middle relief role to him, that's a game changer for this team. Brent Suter, I think what you'll get. You get an ERA around 4, maybe a little under, and you're gonna get 80 to 100 innings out of him, right?
And hopefully they don't put him in that extra inning slot anymore because that really screwed him over.
Yeah, no, it's nothing against him. I don't want him pitching in the high leverage situations. That's where you save Aaron Ashby. And maybe if you want, maybe Devin Williams. Now that you have him back, because he.
And even Boxberger can throw. You can throw him in the 10th inning as well if you need to. I'm not a big Boxberger fan.
Oh, the second half.
Yeah.
Second half of the season, hurt a lot of people when Boxberger stepped in. It was really rough for him, especially those last few months. But yeah, Adrian Hauser, I hope he comes back. After he had the tough postseason. I mean, he served up, I believe, both home runs to Jock Peterson. So that was kind of not, and obviously it wasn't all just his fault, team sport, but hopefully, he comes back, hungry, right? And I think he's a guy who we could see have a big year. He's had a big spring already, and they're showing pitching, Pitching Ninja shows some Twitter videos of pitches. He's got the slider working right now, let's say, him for the sinker, being a sinker ball pitcher. I think he's gonna be a guy to look out for as well.
I also saw Josh Hader is working on a new pitch, and I don't know if you saw that, but that is very scary.
Yeah, Hader's going to be just fine. I mean, top reliever in baseball. There's a reason he's making $11 million, and that's what the Brewers agreed on with him.
And he's going to blow a game or two, and it's going to be okay.
That's the beauty, of baseball, right? You can blow a game or two, but you play 162 at the end of the day. Move on. I think short-term memory is what makes baseball so great, right? I mean, 16-game or 17-game football season, my bad. You make one play, you miss a winning, touchdown, you drop it. That means a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no short-term memory there.
There's no short-term memory there, but baseball, we move on tomorrow. We got another game tomorrow, right?
Exactly. That was game 82. It was your second loss of the year. Oh well, we're fine.
Exactly. So I don't know. Brewers right now, they have them at 93 are in like 93.2 and 68.8 is what they have. So they give the partials so we could do, with that. I think Brewers could go over that easily. I mean, based on the division they're in, I think
it's a 100-win year for them.
That'd be awesome. Jordan, that better happen now. Now that you said
I think it can. I certainly think it can.
Yeah, it's in the realm of possibility. I just need this team not to have injuries, and I need people not to strike out as much as they did. And I need Yelich to come back. I don't need the Yelich of 2019, 2018. I need Yelich, round of 400 OBP. Maybe I might be asking for a lot, but OPS.
I just need consistent Christian Yelich.
Yeah, I need an OPS around let's say OPS plus, around like 130, 120. So it's like top like 20%, above average. We need like an OPS, around like 850, 900.
I was going to say 900.
just not like the 1,000 OPS years he's putting up, but something, hopefully like borderline all-star, right? I think that's what you expect because right now he's eating up a lot of payroll, as we know. He signed that mega extension, and people are scratching their heads. But all the players from the Marlins, we talked about this in last week's episode 54 with Zach. They're all gone, Jordan. I mean, all of them are gone. They have a combined -6 WAR for the Marlins, so it goes down as one of the worst trades in Marlins history. But it's not the worst.
It's not the worst, and that's a very Marlins thing to say. Anything else here? I was going to round it off talking about these bobbleheads now that we know when and where.
Let's do it.
All right, so the Milwaukee Brewers, American Family Field, Sunday, May 22nd. It is indeed the much anticipated Claws Up Willie Adames bobblehead. Had to be. First 35,000 people will be getting that one. Then let's go to June, the first bobblehead in June, a Brandon Woodruff bobblehead. First 35,000 people will be able to get that one. And then it is the Corbin Burns bobblehead next, June 26th. And now this doesn't say like Cy Young on it anywhere, I don't think. What? I think it's just a normal Corbin Burns bobblehead.
No, don't do that to us.
I've been looking at the picture and it just says Corbin Burns.
Hopefully
and it's
in
just
the box.
True, they could do something with the box, but even on the website, it just says Corbin Burns bobblehead. Usually it would say like Corbin Burns, okay, we'll hold that thought for a second because we're going to get to something else. And then we move on. There's a Freddie Peralta bobblehead on July 10th. So that one will get you 35,000 fans as well. It's basically the same thing. Omar Narvaez gets a bobblehead on July 24th. First 35,000 fans will get that one. And then there's a to be determined bobblehead. So that to be determined bobblehead, I can't find the date now.
They always do something retro. Like they'll do like the 80s. They do the Yount jerseys. I'm going to guess something, we'll see retro like that. We did a Bob Uecker talking bobblehead was, around that time last year.
September 11th is when that one is.
Yeah. So we'll see something,
I thought maybe that could be a Burns MVP one, possibly, or a Cy Young one. I mean,
yeah, some collectors, maybe like they'll just do something to get like the old, the nostalgia,
yes.
We'll get Paul out or
a legend.
Like I'd be okay with that as well. Raleigh finger, maybe see something like that. But I like
they just plan on selling a Burns Cy Young one, maybe, and they just want to make a bunch of money. I don't know.
Jordan, what do you think? Maybe a podcast Brewer game. Maybe we get some fans.
Oh, we'll get them all together. There won't be a fan bus though.
Yeah, I mean, I can fit like 7 or 8 in a vehicle, so
there you go.
Basically a fan bus, but maybe we do a podcast outing, get some tailgating going on.
A quote unquote fan bus, we'll call it.
Yeah, exactly. Just threw that idea out there. But Jordan and I will be at the ballpark this summer, and I know Jordan will be
a lot of baseball
ballparks
this summer
as well. So
what is it? It's called like Wildwood Field, I think, or something in Sheboygan for the Sheboygan A's, something like that. Wildwood Field.
Maybe we have some guests of those guys on. So
Wildwood Baseball Park. Yes, indeed. Sheboygan A's. Can't wait. I'm going to actually go on their website as of the time of recording, opening day countdown. And it's going to take a second to load. But May 21st is the opening day. The Citgo opening day countdown, 59 days away as the A's schedule is out. They're starting to sign more names once again. And overall, it's going to be a fun time over at the ballpark. So hopefully we'll see some people down in Sheboygan. Or if you don't want to do that, support the Manitowoc Bandits as well. We love our local baseball. 3 strong years with the Bandits. They three-peat. And, I don't know if they're going to do it again. I think I was the lucky charm, and that's why they were winning all those years. We'll see if they can make it 4 in a row. If they've got other studs like Vorpigel and Dollinger and Mandich, no doubt they will do it again. But anything else Brewers related to round off the episode?
We got it all. Go baseball. Go Brewers.
Can't wait. And spring training, it doesn't mean as much as some people think it does. It's kind of like the NFL preseason where you're seeing starting pitchers hit against guys that are starting hitters hit against pitchers that you might never see again in the majors. But at the end of the day, it's good to get those at bats and get them back in action. So don't forget all our social medias, JD Sports Pod on Twitter, Jordan Drew the Sports Crew on YouTube and Facebook. Other than that, Jordan Drew _ Sports Crew on the Instagram. Drew Skyberg, you can find him everywhere, and me at JD Sports Jordan Law _ PXP. I'm confusing them all on the Twitter. But thank you all for listening to another edition of Jordan Drew the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast